Maybe love isn't what we were taught to look for. Maybe it isn't the fairy tales, the fireworks, the sweeping promises under candlelight. Maybe it doesn't arrive wearing perfection or carrying a bouquet of promises wrapped in pretty paper. Maybe instead, love is quiet and unassuming. Something we stumble into when we're not looking and only recognize when we feel less alone in the world than we did before. Maybe love is a friend who answers your call at 2 a.m., not because they weren't tired or because they had nothing else to do, but because you called, and that was enough. Their voice still thick with dreams. They say, "Talk to me." And suddenly your shaking heart slows its pace because someone in the world cares enough to listen, really listen, when everything inside you feels like it's unraveling. Maybe love is the person who notices the small things, like how you stop talking when you're overwhelmed, or how you always hum that one song when you're trying not to cry. The one who doesn't need you to explain your sadness, because they already know by the silence in your texts, or the way your eyes linger too long on nothing. Maybe love isn't in the big declarations, the picture-perfect moments, but in the soft spaces between them. The "Did you eat today?" The "I made you a playlist." The "Let's sit together," even if we don't say a word. Maybe love is the presence that stays, even when there's nothing exciting happening, even when you're not your best, even when you're just trying to make it to tomorrow. Maybe love is friendship, raw, steady, and incredibly human, the kind that doesn't need a spotlight to shine. It builds itself through years of shared laughter and mistakes, through growing pains and late-night snacks, through birthdays remembered and heartbreaks grieved side by side. It lives in conversations that start off as jokes and end in tears, in the way they say your name like it matters, like it means something just to exist in their orbit. Maybe love is not always romantic. Maybe the deepest forms of love don't come with butterflies and longing, but with grounding and truth. Maybe it's someone who knows the worst things about you and still chooses you, not out of duty or convenience, but out of a quiet, knowing that your heart is worth holding. Maybe love is found in the people who remind you how to be yourself, the ones who let you be messy and brilliant, broken and brave, without asking you to be anything other than who you already are. And maybe, just maybe, that kind of love is the rarest and the most lasting kind of all. Because in the end, what stays with us are not the fireworks, but the warmth of a hand reaching for ours in the middle of the storm. Not the sweeping symphonies, but the gentle hum of "I'm here." Not the perfect chapters, but the quiet pages filled with someone who never stopped showing up. Maybe love is exactly that, someone who stays,